Hi again then guys, and welcome to a kind of tune setup which we haven't done in quite some time, and this is actually a car which I didn't even realise for quite some time that you could use to do this, and that is of course the Blue Moon Bay money earning method. Now I know some people prefer to use different methods of earning cash, like the Red Bull event. I believe there's a newer event that came with 1.40, but the reason why I still use this one is because it's just so simple. Yes, you can technically earn a little bit more money in a slightly shorter time with other events, like maybe a minute or two quicker, but even then, this is just so simple. You can turn your brain off. In my case, I just put on a podcast and listen to it, that kind of stuff. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Blue Moon Bay method, which I don't think many people still would be at this point, but if by some chance you don't know what I'm talking about, just click the link in the description below, and that will explain everything to you. Now, as far as this particular car goes, and the particular tune is, of course, the new Supra. Now, this is in N300, so it still earns the same as my personal go-to vehicle, which is the GT40, 375,000 credits every approximately 12 minutes. So, as far as the upgrades go, of course, I would recommend dropping the weight as low as it can go. As far as power, you want it on 102%, which is the highest you can get it in N300 to get the better money payout. As far as traction control, of course you want that turned off. I would recommend super soft tyres on the front and the rear. As far as the suspension, I would recommend the lowest ride height on the front, and then 5mm higher on the back, then the highest possible frequency for the springs, anti-roll bars on 7 and 10, then for the compression and the rebound on the dampers, we've got those as low as they can go all round, 1.5 degrees of camber on the front, 2 degrees on the back, neutral toe. Of course, you cannot adjust the downforce on this one. As far as the diff, I would recommend midway for the initial torque, then the highest settings for both the acceleration and the braking, and then finally for the gearbox, I've gone for an auto setting of 193 with, of course, the fully customized transmission, but you don't necessarily need to adjust the gears themselves. As you can see, I haven't even adjusted the final drive because you don't really need to for this car. I've put it to 193, as I said. You only use 6 gears anyway, and that's quick enough. So you can change the gears if you want to. Of course, you could optimize the tune a little bit more, but it's not entirely necessary. So that's it for the tune. Of course, you can change things around if you find that you want the car to handle a little bit differently. Of course, you could swap around some of the diff or suspension settings, but what you want to see is this car in action, proving what it can do. Now, as far as using this vehicle in the actual Blue Moon event, it's not as quick as a couple of the others. It's not as quick in particular as the GT40, the KTM Crossbow can also be quicker, so this isn't the option that I'd recommend if you're looking to have the easiest run. This is more so the kind of car that I'd recommend for somebody who's been doing it for a while, like myself, and maybe you want to try something different. I won the race, for instance, by about a 3.5-4 second margin, and that was against an Enzo, as you'll see. So this is not one of those tunes that you can destroy the LaFerrari with necessarily, unless you're just a faster driver than me, of course, which is entirely possible. But it's more the kind of tune that I would recommend trying to stick to everything but the LaFerrari, because you'll just have a way easier time. But even with that being said, it's much more challenging than the GT40, which is just super easy. You can easily win by like 10 seconds or more with that car. So overall, if you do decide to use the Supra, I would recommend a very smooth driving style. Apply the throttle as well a little bit earlier, actually, than you might think. Because with the handling on this car, it feels like it's going to be a bit heavier than it actually is, and then it gets through the corner pretty well. So overall, if you do decide to use this tune, I hope of course you have a ton of fun with it, and if you want to check out my other money earning builds in multiple different classes, from N300 to N400 and even N500 for maybe less experienced drivers who want to have an easier win, then of course you can click on screen here and see all of those. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.